Hello everyone. Thank you for stopping by to be with me during this short tutorial. To all my supporters and those who have viewed my videos, thank you so much for your support. It is very much appreciated. This is just going to, like I said, be a short tutorial. So I just want to show you how I started my winter off. Now I've been doing this for the past couple of years, but I wanted to do a short tutorial on it. So I have 3 rings here, and they're 3 different sizes, and I need to connect them. So I'm using this floral tape. Now you can use jute, string, whatever you have handy. You can even use hot glue, but just keep in mind hot glue does melt with heat. So depending upon where you're going to keep this, then you might want to think about that. But anyway, I'm using floral tape to connect mine. Again, connect, not overlap. That's very important, not to overlap them. And I'm going to connect these 3 different size rings. Now these again are wreath rings. And I purchased mine from Amazon. You get a very good deal on them, and they're very good quality. Now I'm taking the wreath of my choice. You can use any wreath you like, but I'm using this particular mesh. And I'm using a soldering gun to cut this mesh because this mesh frays badly. So to keep it from fraying, the soldering gun cuts down on fraying. And so I'm cutting out 10-inch pieces. So this is 10-inch mesh. So I'm cutting 10 by 10-inch pieces. It's 10-inch wide. And so I cut a total of 22 of the 10 by 10-inch pieces of mesh. Now you can use the mesh of your choice, but I like rustic with a bit of elegance, and that's what this particular piece is going to be, rustic with a bit of elegance. Now also, in addition, I'm cutting 2 pieces of a 16-inch by 10-inch, of course, wide pieces. So again, 2 pieces of 16 by 10. So I'm also doing the same thing with this particular mesh. I'm cutting 16-inch pieces, and I'm going to cut a total of 14 of those. Now I'm taking my pipe cleaners. Now you can use pipe cleaners. You can use whatever you need. You can even use jute because it will hold. Jute will hold. But I'm using pipe cleaners, and I'm only using 6-inch. They come 12-inch. I'm using 6-inch. Now, as you can see, I'm starting my arrangement by starting at the very top of the larger ring. And as you can see, I folded it over corner to corner, and bunched it together, and then flipped it. And now I'm adding it to my pipe cleaner. And I'm going to use the same technique all the way around, but I want to keep this even. So what I do to one side, after I get the top on, what I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other. I want to keep this wreath even all the way around because that's important once you start placing your embellishments on. So I'm going to use the same technique again all the way around, but it's going to be slightly different. So in just a minute here, I'm going to speed this up so you don't have to sit here and watch. So this is the technique that I do for the inside. So here I am, speed this up and just keep going here. Make sure that I do to one side what I do to the other. Now there was a little bit of fraying here, so I'm just taking my soldering gun and just kind of heating the edges to stop it from fraying. And so as you can see, from one side to the next, I'm doing the same thing. Now what I'm going to do differently here is take one of the 16-inch pieces, and I'm going to bunch that up directly straight up the middle. So I'm bunching it straight up the middle. for this big floral design, and I'm going to put that right in the middle of the bottom, where the bottom of the larger ring and the top of the middle ring meets. And then I'm going to fluff that up. And now I'll start my same technique as I did on the larger ring on the middle ring. Now I'm going to move this in just a little bit further because I want this to have that uh, wide to, I guess, less wide as you go down the swag. So I want it to be wider at the top and then to kind of be smaller as you go toward the bottom. So again, what you do to one side, you do to the other, because you want, again, this to be even all around. And now I'm going to take my, as you see, 16-inch piece, and I'm going to put that in the middle of the middle and the smaller. Now I'm taking my lights. These are my remote control lights, and I like my lighted wreaths. I just like my wreaths lighted, even in the winter, spring, and summer. I like a lighted wreath. So I'm just adding my strings to my pipe cleaners right over top of the first layer of mesh. And I just do that all the way around through each pipe cleaner. It doesn't take very long. It takes about a minute. Now these are a touch tangled because I've taken them off another wreath that an old wreath that I took apart. So I have to untangle them just a little bit, but anyway, that's my first layer on. Now I'm adding my second layer, and I'm using the bunch method over top of the regular florals. So I'm going to use my bunch method on each one of these, and I'm going to follow this same technique all the way around. Now, I'm using every other pipe cleaner, so I'm not putting this on every pipe cleaner. Every other pipe cleaner this will go on, including the middle where they connect. So again, I follow this technique all the way around, from the top to the bottom. And this is what it looks like thus far. Now I'm going to add my lights to that second layer that I just put on. And that's the string lights already on. Now, for this technique, I decided I wanted to do ribbon along with my rustic florals. So all I'm doing is taking some old ribbon that I've used in the past, and I cut that in 16-inch pieces, white. And then I cut my ducktails on it, and I'm adding the florals. Now, what I've done here, and I'm going to show you in a minute, is all I do is take the two 6-inch pieces of ribbon, cross them so it's like an X, as you can see here. I'm doing here. I'm cutting out. There was a total of, they were 12-inch pieces that I used on my tree some years ago. So I'm cutting those in half, and they end up equaling 6 inches. And I'm cutting my ducktails on the other end because the ducktails were already on one end. And I'm going to crisscross them, as you can see here. And I'm going to take my soldering gun and put a hole right dead flat in the middle. And then I'm going to take take some hot glue, add some hot glue to right around the hole that I just placed there in the middle, all around, a nice amount. Then I'm going to take my rustic floral, and I'm going to add that right there in the middle in that hole, through that hole. So this way it'll stick to my to my ribbon, and then I'm going to add a bunch of hot glue to the back of that, and that's going to go on in the middle of each one of these florals, each one. Now again, you can use any of your choice. Now for this particular bow, I'm making a bow for my wreath. In this particular bow, I'm just taking again some old ribbon that I had. They're 12-inch pieces, and I'm going to glue two of them together because I'm making my Doralux bow, and I do have a tutorial for my Doralux bow for anyone that's interested. But here I'm going to go ahead and add them right where the ducktails are, and you won't see the ducktails in the end. And I'm going to connect those and make my figure eights, and then I'm going to put them together. Again, I do have a tutorial on my Doralux bow. This is a brief. And now I'm going to bunch them. Now, some years ago, I made my acorns using jute. I had some thicker jute and some thinner jute, and I used some foam balls and made me some acorns. I just really love acorns, especially homemade kind. And so I'm going to add one of my acorns to the middle of my bow, my Doralux bow. And now I'm going to take some more of the old ribbons that I had already have the ducktails on them, and I'm going to add those to the back of my bow. And I'm going to do 3 pieces of that. And to the last piece, I'm going to add a pipe cleaner in the middle so that I can connect my bow to my wreath. And I'm actually doing this particular swag. I call it wreath, but it's swag. This is mine that I did a day before. Same concept. I just added different florals and a different type of bow. I did the basic bow that everyone knows how to do, that you do by hand, or you can use a bow maker. But this is the one that I did a day ago, using different florals and a different bow, but the same concept. And this is the one that I just completed using my Doralux bow and the florals that I just used. So there's 2 different wreaths here. This is the one that I'm going to give to a friend. She really likes this one. And the one on the outside of my door is the one that I'm keeping. And they're both lighted wreaths. So I'm so grateful you stopped by to join me on my channel. And I hope that this has helped you to get your new year started. I will have many more tutorials coming soon with so many fresh ideas. So once again, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.